So this is part 4 of Breakdance 101, and in this video I'm going to cover footers, and we're going to look at some of the quality or some of the important things that you should know when it comes to building footers, and also some of the things probably that are different if you're using Breakdance. Yeah, so that being said, as you can see, I do have a local installation here, and we're going to use that to do the footers. And I did find a footer from Dribble that we might just try and recreate this depending on how much time that we do have. So let's talking and let's start doing something, right? All right, so coming to your back end of your WordPress installation, when you hover on Breakdance, you can see that there's a dedicated spot for footers, and within here you can just click on footers and you're going to see something like this. If you do not have no footer, this is what it's going to look like. If you do have something, it's going to show up, but we don't have anything here, so we are just going to spin up a new one. Click on add footer. So after this, you can just give it a name. Let's give it a name like footer, right? And after that, you do have location. Where do you want your footer to be at? We don't want this footer to not be at everywhere. We want it to be on every page that we do have. So what we're going to do is just click here and then choose everywhere. Just as with the header, with the footer, you can also set it to be in different spot that you want. We want this to be everywhere, so I'm just going to choose that. And down below you do see there's more conditions. If you want to get into like conditions, if you want it to be in a different spot, or for different reason you want it to be in a different place, you can use the conditions to achieve that. We're not going to do anything about that, so we're just going to delete that, and afterwards we can just click on add footer. All right, so after doing that, it has created a template for you to go in and start building what you want. So I'm just going to click on edit in Breakdance. All right, so it will bring you to a canvas that is empty. If you do want to build your own footer, that is what we're going to do now. If you want to use a footer that is already created by Breakdance, you can go to add, go to library. And I do think if you do search for footer here, you are going to find a few footers that has been created by Breakdance. So these are all the footers that Breakdance do have. You can add them and then you can spin them up the way that you want. But today I just want to take you through the process of creating your own footer, so that if you want to do your own thing, you also know how to go about that. All right, so let's close up the library, and then on here we're going to start. There is no dedicated block to build a footer. With a footer, most of the time you might want to use a section, a column, or a grid, or just regular flex box. I do think that the best way to build footers is by using a grid. So that is what we are going to try and do. So to start, I'm just going to click on grid, and it's going to put the grid over here with a section over there. So this grid being selected, if we do want our footer to span just the container, like this 1440 container, we can leave it like this. If we wanted to span the entire width of your website, you can click on the section, go to size, and then on the width you want to change this onto 4. And when you do that, you're going to see that the grid has now expanded to the entire width of your website. So let's go back to this Dribble. You can see we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. So let's use a grid to try and build that. But before that, because we do have something at the top, so let's build that first, and then we're going to do this one, and then we do the one underneath it. All right, so coming back here, so we do have our grid. We're going to leave our grid here. I'm just going to select the section, go in here, and I'm going to pop in a div, right? So this div, I'm just going to move it up on top of our grid, and in here I'm going to add a text. So we can use a header, right? And then we can give the header probably like an H2, something like that. And then in that, we can see that we do have 2 buttons, right? So I'm just gonna go back here and add another div, and inside this div I am going to add 2 buttons, right? So button number 1, let's duplicate that, click on the div, and then let's go into container. And with the container, we want this div to span the entire width of our section. So I'm going to put in 100% over here, and that is good. Afterwards, we also want the div to be horizontal so that we don't have it stacking like this. So to do that, I am going to go into layout, and in layout you can see there's horizontal over here. So let's click on this, and then with the alignment, we want to make sure that this is spaced in between. So space in between, and then it stacks it on the right hand side, and then we want this one to be in the center. So the vertical align, let's make it middle, which is good. So we have now laid out this. We are going to also make sure that this is also horizontal. So I'm going to click here and then click on this to select the parent div. Let's open a navigation structure, right? So this being selected, as you can see here, I am going to go into layout again, and then in the horizontal, I am going to choose, let's say, center. Any of these will work. So we can do center, we can do right, we can do left. Let's do center, right? That is good. And then I'm going to give it some spacing. So I'm going to give it a gap of probably like 20 pixels, which is good. All right. So we do have the very first one that we do see here. We're not going to style it too crazy, so let's leave this just like that. Let's go back and select our section. We want to give like a little gap between this, so let's select the section, and then let's go into layout, and for gap we are going to give this one 60 pixels. So that is good. All right, now we are going to build the kind of design that we do see here, but we can see that this is more like a boxy design. It's not like full width. So what I'm going to do is to go back into a section. I am going to go into the width. As you can see here, I'm just going to remove it, and it's going to turn into this kind of like container kind of vibe. You see what I'm talking about? All right, so now we do need how many columns do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We do need 5 columns. So grid has been selected. I am going to open this, right? I'm going to remove the default styling, and I'm going to put in 5. So we do have a 5 column grid over here, which is good. Within that 5 column grid, let me open this again. It does have heading and other stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in 5 divs, right? So div number 1, we're going to duplicate that divs. I'm just going to leave this one over here. So let's work on the first one. The first one, we do see that there is a logo, there's a text. So let's do that. So we're going to add an image. So image in here, and then we are going to add some little text over here. Let's select our div. Let's give some breathing space of probably 20 pixels. That is good. All right, so image selected. Let's go and click on choose, and then let's pop in our logo, right? So that is our logo. This is our text. Let me make the logo a little small, so we can do like 75, and that is good. All right, so that is good. The next thing that we want to do is to add in, when we go back to dribble, because we do have a header and then we do have a text. All right, so for that, I am going to pop in a header here. Let's make this header h3. Yeah, and let's call this one header 1, right? Header 1. And then if we do want to like fix our typography and other stuff like that, we can come into typography. If we do have presets, if you haven't watched my video on global settings, go and watch that. You understand what presets are. You'll be able to use presets on your own design. You can create them for your own thing. So let's check if we do have some presets here. There's no presets here, right? So if we that one use a preset, we can just go into global styling, come into preset. Let's remove whatever it is here. So let's add probably 18 pixels, or probably 20 pixels. No, let's say 18. So 18 pixel, right? And then the family, I'm going to use General Sans, and I'm going to change this one to RAM, and I'm going to use 1.25. That is good, right? And then we can use like a weight of 500 pixels, and that should be good. All right, so I've created a preset here. I'm just going to go into preset, and I'm going to apply it to that. So that is good. The next thing that I want to do is to put in the list that I want to use for. You can see that we do have a list of our menu items. All right, so over here there are a few ways to do that. if you've watched the header video, you can it's the same kind of idea. Let me change this to like footer, not header. Footer one, right? All right, so it's the same kind of idea. We can go in here and type in menu. If we have created a menu in the appearance section of our WordPress installation, we can pull that menu that we want to use for the footer. All right, so if I click on WP menu, consider I do have a menu here that I've already created. I'm going to use this menu for that. I'm not going to create new ones because it's going to take a bit of time. So I'm going to use this menu for that. So that is one way of creating it. In the next one, I'm going to show you another way of creating this list if you want to create it manually. But trust me, you don't want to create this manually. You don't want to always come into the footer to make changes. So the best way that I do think you can approach this is by making sure that you have created a list in the appearance section, because with that you'll be able to make the changes that you want on the go. All right, so this being selected, I'm going to go into styling and then I'm going to go into mobile. I don't want to have a mobile menu because let me show you what happens if you have checked if this one is at show at phone landscape, right? Let's go to phone landscape, and this is going to turn into a hamburger icon. We don't want that. We want our menu to just show as normal list. So what we are going to do, let's go back to desktop, or maybe let's go back to the phone so you can see the change. So over here, I'm going to click here and then I'm going to say never, so that we do have this list over here. But you can see that this is still in a horizontal state. We do not want that. So what do we want to do? I'm going to close that and then open the desktop menu. So for the desktop menu, now Breakdance do have the ability for you to turn your horizontal menu into vertical. So I'm just going to check this. So now this turns into a vertical menu. That's really simple. Very, very, very straightforward. So we do have our first one. As you can see, there are like some styling that you can do. If you want to know how to style this, please watch my second header video that talks about styling, because with that you'll be able to style this properly. So just a quick styling, can go into links and then we can remove the size. We can make padding or 0 like that, and then we can come back in here, and then for space we can give it like let's say 20 pixels, and that is good. And then we can click on our div and then we can give it a space of 20 pixels too. Maybe this one, instead of making it 20 pixels, let's probably make it like 15 pixels like that. All right, so we do have a very fast menu created. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate that and I'm going to remove this. And the second way of doing that, of listing your menu, is by using probably, let's say, the menu builder, right? So when you type in menu, you can see there's a menu builder over here. This menu being selected, we can go into styling, go into desktop, and then we can choose vertical. And with this, when you do that, you can also come back and then you do the sizing. Let's remove the sizing, right? Go back into our links, and then we can give this one like 15 pixels like that. And over here, you can build out your own links. Let me save this and then go back into our structure panel. I want to collapse it so we can see just this. All right, so in here you can see that we do have like link, menu drop down, whatever. So what I'm going to do is you can remove everything from here, and then we can start building our own like footer by doing that. So making sure that this is selected, you can go in here, and then we just want links. We don't want drop down, so you can just do menu links. And here we can give this one like a home, right? So that's the first one. We can just keep duplicating it, and then we can call this one about, and then just duplicate it again, and then we can call this one contact. So you can see, like, you can build your own thing, but the problem with something like this is you always will have to like come back to make changes if there is a link change or something like that, which is a lot of work. And I would advise that you don't do that. Okay, it's just gonna give you like too much work. So the best way is to use the menu that you have created in the appearance section. All right, so that is the other way. The next way that you can create the menu link, the footer list, is by, let's duplicate this again, and then let's call this one let's say footer 3, right? And then let's delete that, and then you can also come in and do a list. So when you do, let's say icon list, right? For that, you can come in, you can remove the icon. You can see they are not going anywhere. But let's add what we want. We want like a home. You can see you can add a link over here if you want. We can duplicate everything, and then we have like 4 homes. And then you can go into your styling, and within your styling you can go into like icons, and then the icon you can give it like a size of 0. All right, you can see how that looks. And let's go into that. To text index, you can also give text index of 0. So this is another way of creating the list. So you have like 3 options. You have this option, you have that option, and then you also have this option. The best way to do it is by using the first option, which is the appearance list. And the next best way of doing it is by using the menu, this menu list over here. That is the next best way. And the last result is by using this. Never use this. It's just going to give you too much work. Either use this or use that. So that is the way of doing it. Let's just duplicate this to make it so that we can have like 5. So now we do have something that is similar to what they do have here. You have that, you have this, you have that with a header and stuff like that. All right, the next thing that we are going to do is to create that kind of like date, and with the copy symbol, and then we're going to do these icons. So let's try and tackle that. So to do that, I am going to add another div below here, and this div, what we're going to do is we're going to add a text, right? And then we're going to add some social links. So some social icons over here. Let's select the div, and then let's go into layout. We're going to make this one horizontal by making it space in between, because we want this one to go to the far end, and then the vertical we're going to middle it like that. So the div still being selected. Let's close that, go to container. For width, I want to make sure that this is 100%, and that is good. Let's select this, and then now we are going to try and add our date and stuff like that. All right, so to do that, we are going to use dynamic content. All right, so what is dynamic content? Because probably we do want our date to change anytime the year changes. Right now we are in 2023. You don't want to always come back and make changes and change it to like 2024 every year. You want it to change dynamically. So to do that, we are going to try and achieve that. So when you hover on your text, you're going to see this thing that looks like a server kind of thing. Let's click on that icon. So icon has been opened. Now what we do want is to find date. So I'm just going to go into search and then type in date. So you can see that in utility, or under utility, you see current date. So let's click on current date. So current date is going to give you the date that you do see here, but we just need the year. We don't need October, whatever. We just need the year. All right, so let's click on this. Then when you click over here, don't close it. Click on just on the I don't know what is an icon, but just click on this, and it's going to give you this drop down, and then we just click on the format, and then we're going to use custom, right? And custom, we just want the year. The sign that represents the year is Y. So we're just going to pop in Y. So the Y just says 23. We want 2023. So probably let's use a big Y. So when you use a big Y or a cap Y, you are going to get like the full year, just like this. All right, so after that, if you want to add something else to it, like some tags, all right reserve and other stuff like that, you can just go into the advanced section. If you want to add a copyright symbol, I don't have a copyright symbol here, but you can just go on the internet how to get a copyright symbol. Just go here and type in copyright symbol. I hope I typed it correct. Yeah, so after that, you can just find one to copy. What is it? Oh, I think I spelled something wrong, but whatever. Well, all right, so there's one here. You can just copy it like this. It's highlighted, and then just copy it, come into your thing. So the pre-pen is something that goes in front of the 23. So we can just pop in. So you can see that we have our copyright symbol in front of our 23. You can give it space, and it's going to have this space. And then you can come into the append. This is going to come to the back. So let's give it a bit of space and say, all right, reserve. I hope I spelled it correct. All right, so now we do see how to create like the number and other things like that. So basically this is what like the footer is all about. There is not much that you should do. Let's try and make this also responsive. So I'm going to click here and go into tablet landscape. So this one, I want to make sure that I go into our design, go into mobile, make sure that it never turns into mobile. So we do have something like this, which is cool. The next thing is to also go into landscape mode. Everything is still good. It is not too crowded, so that is really good. And then we're going to go into our mobile. This is very crowded. We can like everything here is too like jump packed. So we're going to make sure that we're going to select our grid. So where's our grid? So select this grid, and then items per row. We want to make sure we just have one item in a row. So let's put in one. So now you can see that this is very, very, very responsive. There is spacing in between them, which is also really good. You can add more visual things to it. You can make sure that the color over here is not too dark, so that it differentiates it from the header. Now we are making sure that the header is also bigger, so it also differentiates it from there. So those are all visual cues that you can add to enhance your footer. All right, so over here you can see that this is stacking. So let's select on this, and then we're going to go into layout. So this is not stacking, this is still horizontal. So we're going to go into layout, and then on the horizontal we're going to click on that. You can see that this is also very mobile friendly. So we want it to be stacking only on mobile. So we're going to do mobile landscape, but it is in the middle. Probably want it to come to the left hand side. So under vertical align, we're going to choose top. So when you choose top, it shifts it to the left hand side, and that is actually good. Now we're going to go into gap, and then we're going to give it like 20 pixels, just like this. So this is actually really good. And let's come also over here. You can see that this is there's a stacking too close to each other. So let's come in here, and then let's do also 20 pixels. So we have made this raw footer that we've created, and then we also make it really responsive. Let's check the last part of the mobile, which is this. So this is still like very, very, very responsive. Let's save it, and then we are going to go into the front end. So this is the front end. We can see this is our footer. If we change this one to like mobile, so let's go here, and then you can see that now it stacks beautifully just like that, and everything is actually really responsive. So if you are looking for a very basic tutorial on how to set up your footer, this is Breakdance 101 just for footer. We didn't build any glamorous footer, but we've built a footer that works, a footer that has the text, it has like a design, it is very responsive. One thing that you have to make sure that your designs is responsive. If your design is good and it's not responsive, you're going to throw people off. If your design is responsive and it's not that too good, at least people can navigate your website. All right, name is Nyakum. Thank you for watching this. See you on the next one.